During my spiritual awakening, I realized what went on in my mother line and how it directly impacted not only my life, but my children's lives.
It's been an incredible healing journey. Yes, painful. And I think ultimately it's something we all need to do to learn to mother and father ourselves.
Don't just focus on the ways that you've been hurt and the bad things that you do and whatever, but to really be committed to knowing the truth of who you are and the ways in which you are wounded as well.
That journey to heal the mother wound between mother and child is actually the journey into your heart and knowing that you are love. And the more I do the work, the more I see that well of love in the heart is bottomless.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's discussion. You may have been watching our videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have gained value from our conversations, from our channel, it would be so appreciated for us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now and even give us a like. What that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it also allows us to bring in even more guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's wonderful panel discussion. And we are live, and welcome to our very first Wisdom Circle of 2026. I'm so very excited. Of course, my name's Sophia from Sacred You, and today we have the absolute honor of presenting, facilitating, hosting these wisdom circles, and a special topic today is healing the mother wound, honoring the mother line. I'm excited to be able to listen to it, and our beautiful facilitator, Tywanah EVETTE, also known as Thunderbird Rising, is here to tell us more about the topic, Tywanah, and then to introduce the wonderful speakers. So thank you. I am going to leave it to you, and I will be back at the end. Thank you ever
Thank
so
you, my
much.
darling. Hello, everyone. I'm Tywanah EVETTE, as Sophia stated, also known by my Native American name, Thunderbird Rising. I am a shamanic healer, a high priestess, and a medium. However, this topic is so special because I had to heal the mother wound and the mother line. And my spirit team is made up of everyone from my mother line up to 5 generations back. So this was especially special for me to be able to bring awareness to. So now that I've introduced myself, I'm just going to go in order of who I see on the screen in my Brady Bunch boxes. And Elizabeth, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Tywanah. Yeah, my name is Elizabeth Kipp. I live in Lawrence, Kansas, right in the center of the United States. I'm a stress management and historical trauma specialist and ancestral clearing practitioner. I also have done my own work on the mother line and continue to do it. I feel it not just in my own lineage, but in the collective. And it's just amazing how many people are working, how many of my clients are working on that right now. I'm excited to have this conversation. I've been in this work since 2014. And I just can't get enough of this topic. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Samantha?
Thank you. I am in central Victoria, but I come from South Africa, and I became a mother nearly 29 years ago, and that was such a profound experience. I only have one child, but me becoming a mother and me healing from my patterns with my mother, I think have taken up pretty much like most of my life. And I work with parents and carers, mostly mothers, of neurodivergent children, helping them to move from feeling that they never can do enough as mothers to actually claiming their own power, their confidence, their joy, and peace. Actually, peace or moments of peace are possible in spite of all the challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, darling. And Phannie, last, never least.
Thank you, Tywanah. Yeah, I'm super honored to be here. I'm Phannie Krentzman. I'm in Denver, Colorado. My company is Radical Love Movement. I work primarily in embodiment and intuition training. And I became a mother 17 months ago. And I would say, in the process of identifying and healing the mother wound in a very fantastic sort of a way. I work a lot with awareness and patterning and unconscious beliefs and movement and embodiment and study developmental movement. So I'm getting to see all of these things in real time, and I'm getting to witness myself mothering my daughter and having reactions to my own parenting and getting to hold the awareness of choosing how I actually want to show up. Not perfectly all the time, certainly on those nights when I don't sleep too. But yeah, I'm very excited to hear what everyone has to say today and what's going to come up in this circle. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And we have an audience member or two here with us today. Gary, would you like to say something quickly about yourself as an audience member?
Thank you so much, Tywanah. I just love Elizabeth and her trainings and everything. She's awesome. And I'm retired from National Disaster Emergency Management and Public Safety, and I'm shamanic samurai medicine man and an author and stuff like that. So I do energy work and things. But it's great to, and I'm retired from anger management for the courts also. It's good to retire and get those things out. But it's great to be here with you and the team, and I love the subject, and I was grateful to be able to have time with my mom before she graduated in 21 at 90 and 8 months. And so we took her on road trips and had fun, but we cleaned up our relationship, and it was really good. Thank you.
Wonderful. We've got 3 audience members today. So Julia, would you like to say something quickly?
Sure. I'm in Seattle. I found this event on Meetup. It sounded super interesting. I'm a mother. I have a mother. I don't know. I missed the intro trying to find the link to get on. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Oh, she is one of my dear friends and an amazing woman. Would you like to say something about yourself?
I do hear the first part, so hopefully you're talking about me.
Yes.
There was some kind of glitch. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting for this. I just learned about it at our connecting call, so thank you. Appreciate. And I see some familiar faces too. Elizabeth, who I am. My name is Violeta Capusta. I stepping more into my calling of awakened woman and facilitating the brand and heart mastery co-creation, Awakened Woman Club, and Awakened Woman to help women stand in their power using their voice. And I think big part of it, when I ask my spirit why I supposed to do it, who I am, was because of the mother. My mother was very submissive person to my father, and I was just keep standing and creating conflicts with my father. But many times I was actually becoming like him just so he doesn't have anything like picking on me or something. And it transformed to transform at some point that my energies actually separated at some point. It was so tense and intense for years that I finally started recognizing which one are my energies and which one my father. even though many times consciously, even I could hear that I'm speaking like him and I'm acting like him. So that was a big, and to stand up for women. And I'm mother as well for 23 years old. And I recreated the story with my relation with my daughter when I pushed her away, that she ran away from home and stuff. And we in the process of recreating that relation and reconnecting and healing all those wounds. So generational for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know Elizabeth and I are going to dive deep into that generational thing. So the way the wisdom circles work is we just have a conversation. There are no list of questions and rounds and things like that. So if anybody has something to say, feel free to the panelists. Please feel free to chime in. We want to respect everyone, but we can chime in. So I know for me, during my spiritual awakening, I realized what went on in my mother line and how it directly impacted not only my life, but my children's lives. And when I was evaluating my children's childhood is when I realized what happened in the previous generations. And so I had to do a lot of deep diving. And it hurts. It hurts. It really does. Healing is it's not a yummy feeling until you get to the other side of this line. Healing is lifelong, but you do get to a point in your healing journey where it's, now I can do this. So as for me, I have 5 generations with me from my mother's lineage. I mentioned I'm a shaman and a medium, and they are my teachers. They are my guides. My mother is the head of my spirit team. I was able to make it to her transitioning right before she went to the other side of the veil, and let her know that I forgave her. And I meant it when I said it. And she had no brain waves for 3 days, which is why they were going to allow her to transition. But when I walked in the room, her eyes opened. And her frail hands were trying to take the tube out. And I'm telling her, Mom, no, I know. And it's okay, because I forgive you and I love you. I suffered great abuse as a child, abuse that no child should ever go through. And part of the betrayal that she was fearing was she knew some of it and did not act upon it. So it left me with a lifetime full of poor decisions until my spiritual awakening began in 2021, 2022 timeframe. But every time she came through, she had made her way through the veil a few times. Every time she came through, her message was she was sorry. And, when I think about that, it breaks my heart. Because even on the other side of the veil, when she was transitioning, she was trying to say sorry. When she moved over to the other side and came to me, every time she came, it was to say sorry. So, Elizabeth, would you like to talk a little bit about this?
Sure. We have some stuff in common there. I had challenges in my childhood. It's interesting. I'm sitting here in this circle listening to everyone, and something has arisen in me that I actually hadn't seen before, related to my mom and my relationship with the world. And that is that she was an undiagnosed, untreated bipolar disorder, and she used alcohol to mediate that, which resulted in more dysregulation, a very erratic behavior. And my brother and I walked on eggshells until we left home. Anyway, so So what's interesting in this moment, she was very overbearing. She would explode. We never knew when or why, but we knew it would happen every day. And we didn't know. So it was just, it's arbitrary. And so that's jarring to the nervous system. Here's the thing. Remember what I just said? She had a lot of power and she used it. Now, she used it in a very dysregulated way. Clearly, she was carrying a lot of trauma she hadn't resolved. She was getting by on her wits. She didn't have the tools that you and I have. But what I'm noticing right now is how hard I have worked to step into my own power. I'm afraid of my own power because I know she's in me. And my relationship with I have one son. My relationship with my son is, I'm really aware of it there. And so I hadn't put it all together until I heard what you all were saying, and all of a sudden, whoop, it just emerged. And I was like, yeah. So our mothers have, they have the power they were born with, and because of the biology, when our grandmother is 4 months pregnant with our mother, all the eggs that our mother's going to have are developed, and so we're sitting there with our grandmother and our mother for 5 months. So we're sharing space with grandmother and mother there for 5 months. That's profound. And our grandmother spent 5 months in her grandmother, and her grandmother, and all the way down the line. So we're holding the energetic energy of the whole mother line in this moment. That's freaking powerful. There's a lot of power there. Now, on the other side of that, in the summer, I think it was 2018, I sat with this question because I was so haunted by the story of my family and really particularly my mom. I sat with this question: who would I be without the story of my family? I'm not saying that I was trying to get rid of it. I'm just saying I entertained the question. And it was very helpful for me to clear what's mine and what's not. And I was able to, not that I was able to release the momentum of the past, because the brain carries that, but it helped me have better clarity so that the choices I make in the present moment are a little more conscious. And I had a little better sense of my own identity. So that's both sides of the coin, right? We carry all the mother line energetically, and we can sit in that null space, that 0 point, and have a whole different experience. Yeah.
Yes, we can. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing, Elizabeth. And thank you for pointing out that, yes, we do sit in our grandmother's bodies, and our mother sat there, and so on and so forth. But something else I wanted to mention is ancestral lineage remains in our DNA. So, for example, if your great-grandmother was a psychic, her fears are passed down to you. And it's in our DNA until we decide to clear it. We have to do something about it. And the wonderful thing about all of us here in this space right now, living at this time, is we have so much knowledge and wisdom available at our fingertips. Look at us. We're all over the world connecting. And it's just beautiful. So, Samantha, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, a lot of things are coming up for me, and I wanted to share what I learned from you about the tea ceremony, talking about the ancestral wine, because it's a lovely way that I have found, that I learned from Tywanah, to connect with those ancestors. And particularly for me, I feel a lot more connected to the female line. My mother's still alive and really struggling with her mental struggling with, I think, depression at the moment. And yeah, that's something that and she's far thousands of miles away in South Africa. But I really feel I'm able to support her in some way at this time. And she is able to listen to me. So it's something that's very different from the pattern where growing up, where she would, and I'll come back to the tea ceremony. I'm just going off on a tangent because she would constantly say things to me like, "You're going on another retreat. You've got another session with a counselor. What? Like, why do you have to keep doing these things? Can't you just get this over and done with?" So just like such a different understanding of the healing, or no understanding of what it's like to be on a healing journey. And now coming to the end of her life, and for the first time ever considering going to a counselor. And I'm just so supporting her and encouraging her to do that. And she's, "Oh, I can just talk to a friend." No, Mom, you're going to feel a sense of obligation. And I know she does. She doesn't want to be a burden on others. So go to a professional, because you're paying, there's a proper exchange, and you won't feel like you're a burden. So anyway, that's what's going on in the 3D world that we're still in together. But I love tea, and I know that my grandmothers really love tea. And so I take the beautiful cups and put them on a tray, and I make them tea, and I go and sit on the land outside, because I'm living in a bus some of the time. And yeah, I've just found it's such a healing and enjoyable way to connect with them, and to give back, to honor them with something in a concrete way, because I just find that easier than, more abstract ways. I don't have the psychic abilities, and not developed to the point that a lot of you do. So yeah, those are some of the things that came up for me now, and I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you. And I'm so glad the tea ceremony is bringing you joy and peace. That makes my heart happy. Phannie, would you like to chime in?
I would love to. Yeah, this has been so rich so far, and there's so many things that are happening. I still have a mother who's alive, and it has not always been the most functional relationship, certainly. But because of, I heard you speak of spiritual awakening, and then I heard Elizabeth talk about history and patterning and the 0 point and choice and awareness. And that's like, choice and awareness is like the meat of the work that I do. And you don't get to have choice without the awareness. And so much of healing the mother line to me is gaining an awareness of how the patterning has shaped you, and how your reactivity continues to fulfill those beliefs, and like gaining the opportunity to reformat that experience. But personally with my mom, she spends a lot of time with my daughter now, who is brand new. It's just 17 months old, just a sweet little talking toddler. And it's the work, the healing, right? Like, healing means wholeness, right? And so I witness in myself a lot. The way that I interact with my daughter is I'm very present, I'm very responsive. I chose to take the whole first year of her life off of working, and I'm just like there. I've also done a lot of work on being present, so I can do that. And my mom is not those things. My mom is very ADD, very distracted, very pain avoidant, very whatever. And coming from my sense of wholeness versus when I'm in my reactivity or my patterning, watching how my mom interacts with my daughter can be really triggering, because I see her pick up her phone while my daughter's like grunting at her, trying to get something. I want to be angry, and I want to fix it and make it, show her the right way to do it. And I know that's all just like my stuff coming up. And then when I'm whole, I just, oh, my baby is her own person. she's gonna be patterned. She's gonna have to fall asleep to who she is and go through the journey of awakening and coming home to herself, because it's part of the script of being a human. And so I've been learning to appreciate. I still interject, because you can't help it all the time. I'm like, excuse me, did you put your phone down while you're hanging out with her? But I think that there's this thing that I'm hearing in here of everyone speaking of the choice that we have, right? We can come from our wholeness, and we achieve that through whatever healing process we go through. Yeah. I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to be traumatized, have a very challenging psychological and emotional trauma at 19 that sent me on my path. And thankfully, I was at a place enough in myself to choose awakening instead of started was drug abuse and numbing and hiding and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. But the other thing that being a body professional that I really honor in the mother line is matter, is Mother Earth and our form and the body we inhabit. And so much of the work that I do is with the story, my personal patterning and history of my maternal line, but also the mother line of I am body and I am made of earth, and like the ultimate mother is earth. And I really spend time being in communion with nature in that way, and being informed and guided. That's my contribution for now. So thank you.
You're welcome. One of the things I'd like for us to chat about, and this is very personal, but I do share it. My children walked away from me for 3 years, almost 3 years, 2.5 years. And rightfully so, because my mother's trauma was passed to me, and I did not have the awareness nor the tools at the time. I always make the joke, the Encyclopedia Britannica and the Webster's Dictionary did not tell me how to heal my trauma. And it unfortunately spilled over into their lives. And as adults, they had to make the very brutally painful decision to walk away. And we've since reconnected. We are working on our relationships. It is work, but they had to see for themselves with their own eyes. And I'll never forget the moment, because I saw them look at each other. Who is this lady? They had to see that mom is not the same mom was when mom was full-time mom after my healing journey. And so I'll never forget them glancing at each other. Who is this lady and where did she come from? Does anyone want to talk about parent-child separation and how the mother line affects that?
Thank you for sharing that story. It's beautiful to see people go through such a transformation like you have, and sounds like it was pretty quick as well. It was like a real fast track. So yeah, my daughter is autistic, and I went through a huge disconnection when she was a teenager. She suddenly, in a moment I will never forget, she changed from being a quiet little angelic creature to saying words to me that I can't repeat here, swearing, kicking, breaking things. She became violently possessive over me. She wouldn't tolerate me having friends. And I didn't know what was going on. I barely heard the word autism and didn't associate it with my daughter, but I felt so disconnected from this child that I'd been so close to for 14 years. And it was so incredibly painful. And that's why I'm working with other parents that can go through similar, have children with similar behaviors that really challenge us to stay grounded and to find our deep source and presence in spite of losing your child, like losing this connection. And she didn't walk away, or she actually came to Australia for a few years before I came here. And I felt, yeah, it's a huge grief, but ultimately finding a spiritual understanding of what's going on is essential. I don't know how anyone can survive without that. And even today, now she will say, Mom, I need a break from you, like frequently. Autistic people tend to be very honest and direct. And yeah, she'll say, I need a break. And yeah, we go through periods of disconnection where I just have no idea what is going on in that brain of hers. No idea. So as a group of parents and carers, I think one of the nicest things I see happening is that a parent will share, this is what's happening with my child, and another parent can understand and relate and say, hey, perhaps they're feeling this or that, and that's how it's playing out. And then the behavior makes sense, and we can actually start to at least understand it, if not address it. But it takes a village, it takes a community. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. You are welcome. Thank you for sharing, Samantha. Phannie, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not at that point yet, but I do think about it a lot. Of someday I'm not going to be around my daughter all the time. But the thing that I'm experiencing a lot right now is I choose to be aware, and I choose to behave differently. And I am often the adult in my relationship with my mother, and I have been for a long time. And when I talking about grief in relationship, it's not like a physical separation that I experienced with my mother, but there's an emotional separation that I'll do very unconsciously, because it like pains me to see her suffering and her lack of awareness in it, and that there isn't a lot that I can do. Like I try to like work with her or give her tools or be like, there's so much more that you could experience or have or whatever. And it's challenging to not just cut off the relationship. It would be, there's a lot of times when it would be easier to not have to deal with this dynamic and the back and forth and the up and down, and her very clear pattern that I like watch her go through and how I participate in it and whatever. But it's I think that's also a big part of healing ourselves. Gives us awareness and gives us a lot of space. But there's the mother's love, and I'm like I crave that from her, like her unfettered presence, and I just won't ever be there, and to just have to accept that as its own, like, and there's times where it makes me feel really separate from her, but there's also times when it gives me the opportunity to just appreciate her and her humanness and just be okay with that and hope that I do better. So I don't know if that
you
makes
are
sense.
aware enough to do better, and that's what really counts, is the awareness of making better choices. I did make better choices, but there were still a lot of not so yummy choices that I made. And I am incredibly proud, and I will say this publicly anywhere, anytime. I'm so proud of my children for doing what they did. They are so brave, so courageous, and so beautiful for giving me that gift, because it was a gift. Elizabeth, I am waiting to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. Very interesting discussion, very powerful. I'd like to talk a little bit about the codependent relationship we have with our children. And I work as an addiction recovery coach as part of what I do, so codependency is like a thing. We're always working on that, right? And what I have discovered is that I don't actually know how to not be codependent with my son. I actually don't know how. Now, the challenge is, can I balance this relationship? And the reason that I say I don't know how is because his brain cells live in my brain cells, and my brain cells live in his brain cells, and we are entangled fundamentally. 3D, 5D, all pick the D, we're entangled in it. I just put down, we're not going to be able to like heal, we're not going to be able to not be codependent, but we can become balanced. And I'll give you an example of how I really understood that. As I explained this difficult relationship I had with my mother. And it wasn't until I was listening to Kelly McDaniel's book called Mother Hunger: How Adult Daughters Can Understand and Heal from Lost Nurturance, Protection, and Guidance. Mother Hunger, amazing book. And she's talking about, I get maybe a third of the way into the book, and I'm like, she's describing this dynamic. And all of a sudden I realized energetically what I had been doing with my mother the whole time, and how I had transferred that to my son. And that was, I would turn myself inside, outside, and backwards to get my mother to actually show me that she loved me. And it didn't matter what I did, I still didn't, it just didn't happen. So that's an example of mother hunger. And it wasn't until I got into this work, and Kelly McDaniel's work was part of it, was like, this is not about my mother loving me, this is about me loving me. This is about this journey. That's the journey, right? And understanding that my mother had never taken that journey. So here's how that kind of played out. My son, who's amazing, he's just brilliant. He was behaving in a way that I was like, I can't believe he just said that. And it really bothered me. And I was like, oh, Elizabeth, what is that? Like, look at you reacting like that. And I thought about it, and I cooled off. And then later in the day, after I cooled off, I got all upset again. And I was like, what's happening here? And I saw what it was. He's not behaving like I want him to. I want what I want when I want it. That's addictive behavior. That's the frequency of addiction. Sitting right there. That's codependent behavior. He has his own higher power, and I am not it. So that teaching and that kind of understanding of that shifted the landscape for me, of really understanding what's happening here, right? And how is a way that I can balance this relationship so that we're not push-pulling each other all the time? Yeah, that's what came up for me with you and Phannie and Samantha. Yeah. And I looked, Violetta wanted maybe to say something too. I saw her raise her hand.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say we are 15 minutes from having to close out our beautiful discussion. While I can talk about this all day, honestly. Violetta, can we get you at the end? Is that okay with you, my love? Thank you. So the last question I have for everyone is for the mothers out there who are watching. All of us are practitioners. All of us work with pain, healing, trauma. I know Elizabeth and I dive deep into ancestral clearing, ancestral healing, and I dive deep into shamanism. So if you could give any woman advice, because it's any woman, they don't have to have children for this, on how to heal the mother line, what would it be? Anyone? Go ahead, dear. You don't have to raise your hand.
Pick me. What comes up for me is to know the truth of who you are, as well as your dysfunctional patterning, and to not just bias one or the other. Don't just get all woo about we're all love and or don't just focus on the ways that you've been hurt and the bad things that you do and whatever, but to really be committed to knowing the truth of who you are and the ways in which you are wounded as well.
And one of the things I neglected to mention was our mother line has a lot to do with, even though the father shows us who we should love, the mother line has a lot to do with our self-love. So if I could give any woman advice, it would be, you are worthy of love. It doesn't matter what anyone says to you. You are worthy of unconditional love. And you do not have to please anyone on this earth but the divine. The divine's not on this earth, in the earth, but no one in this world. You do not have to please anyone. Do what you need to do to make you happy and you whole. And secretly, you wind up healing the forward generations. Elizabeth, any closing thoughts?
Sure, I'm all of you. I would say that that journey to heal the mother wounds between mother and child is actually the journey into your heart, and knowing that you are love, and that the more I do the work, the more I see that well of love in the heart is bottomless. It's limitless. It's this connection to the infinite. And that for me is very powerful. So I'm able to hear my son say things that, like, I can't believe he just said that, and deal with my own stuff, or my mom, I can't believe she just said that or did that or whatever, and stay within and tap that well of love. Just stay there. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I learned.
I love it, Elizabeth. Samantha?
I would say be grateful for this journey of learning to love ourselves, learning to mother ourselves. It sounds like for all of us that have spoken, it was so obvious that we didn't get the mothering that we needed. And for many years, I was always looking for a mother. Many years. And it's been an incredible healing journey. Yes, painful. And I think ultimately we all it's something we all need to do, to learn to mother and father ourselves. So yeah, I'm grateful for that journey, and I can't imagine who I'd be if I hadn't needed to embark on that journey. It's so much who I am. To celebrate who they are, like our children, our mothers, and not try to fix them. Like Elizabeth said, let's be connected to our higher power. So it's not about why don't they do what I want them to do, and just be centered in our own truth, instead of needing people around us to fulfill our needs. We're responsible.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We are. Absolutely. And I'm going to give Miss Violette a minute to say something before we close out this beautiful wisdom circle for today only.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this experience, and a lot of thoughts came through and resonance with the shares. And what I want to quickly add, in alignment with that unconditional love, and discover through the journey that my child was actually my gift of unconditional love, and that opened me through actually being more present, being more grateful, and forgiving to myself first, to come with more grace, to open the possibility in my mind and in my heart that my child is my unconditional love gift. And to forgive my mom, then it was even easier to forgive and recreate the relation with my mom and father. I have much more connected relation, that I'm less triggered with their things and not eager to fix them, just honoring for who they are and be grateful that they are my parents, and proud of my child, that she is my child, and we in each other journey and evolving through each other kind of experiences and co-creating together.
Ooh, you made some amazing points. We might have to get you on the next wisdom circle, Miss Violetta. Everyone, thank you. I honor everyone here for speaking truth, from speaking from the heart, and talking about very vulnerable situations, but it's something that needs to be discussed openly, because we've got a mass awakening happening where children are separating from parents because of a lack of accountability. And the last thing I'm going to say, and then the lovely Sophia can close us out, is number one, listen to your children. Okay. We don't always know what's right because we're parents. And number two, accept them for who they are, exactly who they are. Don't try to change them. Don't try to make decisions for them. And you will find that that creates a sense of safety and balance for them that they can then take on with them for their journey. Because for those of us who were traumatized, that is in our children's DNA, and they have to take their own journeys. But for those of us here who have already been through the journey, we are the models for how to go through the journey. And we can then be there for them in the way that they need, not in the way that we need it. Because, for example, I always say, I was the parent I needed. I was not the parent my children needed. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to the lovely Sophia.
Thank you, Tywanah, and thank you, everyone. This has been an incredible conversation. I've been sitting here and taking so much in, which is also helping me to heal my mother wounds as well. So thank you ever so much. Before we wrap up very quickly, Julia, would you like to share anything, or do you have any quick questions just before we wrap up? And also Gary as well.
Yeah, thank you. I am bummed that I missed the intro and came in late because I was nodding along everyone.
Yeah.
I recognize parts of myself in everyone's story, and it's a lot of resonance. And the one thing I think that wasn't mentioned, because reparenting, right? We can now become our own parent,
Yes.
be what we weren't given because we're adults now. That was reverberated multiple times. And so that was awesome. But the one thing I think that is another unique perspective as a parent that I recognized in my son when Elizabeth was talking, it reminded me of he doesn't like to be babied. He's 19 and first year of college and really didn't want my last bits of advice before he was going off in the fall. And I was like, why does it irk him so hard when I'm just literally trying to give him like the last bits of advice? Because I haven't been a helicopter parent. I've been very much like hands off as they grew up and got older and older. And then I realized, oh, he's actually giving me his power. And I had to tell him that. I said, when it bothers you that I'm caring, I'm not going to stop caring for you. This is my way. But if it bothers you, you're actually giving me your power. So I said, that's how you feel, and that's what you need to deal with. Your feelings are your feelings. So I gave it to him because I've been a carer for sure, carrying everyone's emotional load and right? Like I've had to break up with that. So that was one other big point that came up for me that I think is really important for
Thank you for
anyone who
sharing that.
maybe not seen that or heard that perspective. So thank you for asking.
Thank you for sharing that. That is really appreciated. And as well, Tywanah will be back in a month for part 2, round 2 of this wonderful topic. So Julia and Violetta, if you would, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name properly, but Violetta, if you would actually like to join us on the circle as speakers, please let us know. Truly, truly. And Gary, we welcome you into the circle and we honor you for being here. Is there anything that you would like to share before we wrap it up very quickly?
I'd like to just express gratitude to everyone and hearing your stories. I was fortunate because my mom and I did Jinshin Jitsu back in the 80s together, but we were really able to help heal our relationship. She dragged me from Buddhist to Jehovah's Witness and everything in between, so I had God issues. But it was interesting. We went through the Sedona Institute together and when it was in Sedona, Arizona, and went to Landmark Forum and did holographic repatterning and psychoneurological repatterning. And we really were able to become best friends later on getting through that. So it was helping me listen to everybody and so to be grateful for the relationship we had. So thank you.
Thank you. And we honor you for being here, showing up. We really do. And for everyone else, for Elizabeth, for Phannie, for Samantha, again, thank you so much for giving up an hour of your time. I do know, Phannie, that you will be leaving us, or everyone will be leaving us very soon. For anyone out there who is watching, whether it's the live or the replay, click on the links to reach out to these amazing women who have just given up an hour of their time to share their experience and their wisdom about honoring the mother line and healing those wounds that we all need to do so they don't get passed on for future generations. Do come back next week. We have more wisdom circles, and I said our beautiful Tywanah will be back in a month for the next part of this one. Coming up is Ancient Wisdom Rising, Moon Medicine for Modern Hearts. That's coming up. That's actually in 10 days. Our beautiful Samantha will be here not long after that with her wisdom circle, Miss to Feed and Nourish the Wild Woman. And for everyone out there who is watching us, check out Sacred You. Visit Sacred You. It's the sacredyou.love with the letter U.love. Come and join us for free. and also do our archetype circle, where that will also help and empower you to connect with that inner mother and the sacred feminine, to also to heal those wounds. Come and check it out, and we will see you all next time. Thank you.